Welcome, one and all, to the Hammer Territory Podcast. My name is Shawn Coleman. Hope wherever you are and wherever you are listening, you have had a great a great Wednesday yourself. Hopefully, your day was better than this evening has gone if you are a Braves fan, and we're here to break it all down. Of course, with me, as always, is my podcast partner, Stephen Tolbert. And let's just cut straight to the chase. The Braves lost tonight 2-1, their third straight loss in a row, when it comes to facing off against the Red Sox on Sunday, as well as the Diamondbacks in the first two games of the season. The Braves are now 6 games under 500 once again, and I know that they started off the season 0-7. This is the low point of the season for the Braves. The fashion in which they have lost these past 3 games, the time that it is now for them to get going, and overall the offense just seeming to be non-existent, even when they have chances to get the job done. To me, this is the low point of the season. That's not meant to be dramatic. That's just meant to be straightforward. Stephen, it's always good to get to do these podcasts with you, but man, this is getting old really, really quick.
Yeah, and it's not just 3 losses in a row. I mean, they've lost, I think, 5 series in a row.
They've lost 5 series, 3-10 in their last 13 games.
Yeah, and I think they're like 4-11 in their last 15 games. So, I mean, they've been awful for 2+ weeks now, almost 3 weeks now. And by the way, they weren't exactly lighting the world on fire before this to begin with. I mean, obviously they started 0-7. They were 5-13 at one point. They had just barely gotten it back to 500, even gotten a game over 500. And then fell off a mountain. It's very telling. I was checking the Braves official Twitter account to see if there was an update on Daysbell before we started the show. And the Braves tweet out every highlight of the game, every single one, every night. The Braves' social media is very active. And the last 2 tweets they've sent as of recording this podcast were the tweet where they said the game is going to start at 8:20 because of the weather. That was the second to last tweet they sent. And then the last tweet they sent was the final score of the game. And that was it. So for the whole game, they sent out 1 tweet, which was the final score, basically. So that tells you exactly what we just watched. And I mean, we're going to get into the details. We're going to get into the offense. We're probably going to start the show with the offense and that just whatever the hell that was in the 8th and 9th inning. But Jesus Christ, I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what the hell happened to this team. I don't know if they just have a collection of just I don't know. I'm going to say some stuff that's going to get me in trouble. Well, we're going to get into it, but yeah, it's good to be on with you, buddy.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of ironic because, Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in 2 of the past 3 years, it was right around this time, 3 of the past 4 years, the Braves have played the Diamondbacks around Memorial Day, towards the end of May, at the start of June. I think the last 2 times have been in Arizona. But when that occurred, it felt like we played the Diamondbacks at the start of where our season kind of turned around, at the start of when we started to get hot in June, in the past couple of years. But this time around, it's ironic because this again feels like rock bottom so far this season. This again feels like the low point. And I'm not being dramatic. The reason why I say that is because we all can look at the stats. We all can look at the tape. This offense sucks right now. It absolutely is the truth. But what is disheartening, what is inexplicable, and tonight inexcusable is the fact that this Braves offense continues to rewrite more and more disappointing ways to be able to lose. They don't just get blown out. They don't lose by giving up a big inning late. They just put together an opportunity and then it just goes to complete crap. And that happened twice in a row tonight in the 8th and the 9th inning. Stephen, you do a wonderful job breaking it down. I'm going to let you do that. But that is what is most disappointing about this team right now. Yes, it's the losses. Yes, it's overall the offense not getting the job done. Again, last night, we go through the first time through the order. Zach Gallen has a perfect game going. Merrill Kelly went into the 6th inning with the no-hitter tonight. But the Braves still had chances. They still had chances, especially tonight, and could just not get the job done. And it's not because the opposing pitching staff overpowered them. It's not because of bad luck. It's just because this team's approach when it comes to the opportunity to score runs is the worst I've seen since really I've been watching the Braves. It is absolutely a nightmare right now.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get a hit to the sixth inning. I mean, Ronnie finally came up and hit a 110-mile-an-hour line drive to get a single to – I mean, I really thought they were going to get no hit. Merrill Kelly had like 70 pitches through 6 innings or something like that. Like, if Ronnie doesn't get that hit, they might get no hit tonight. And so the whole game was just frustrating. And so the frustration was just building and building and building. And keep in mind, the Braves – only scored 1 earned run last night. I know they scored 3 runs, but 2 of those runs were off of a really bad error by Suarez at third base. They scored 1 earned run last night. They scored 1 earned run on Sunday against Boston. They scored 1 earned run on Friday against Boston, lost both of those games. And so the frustration is just building, pissed off. Arizona's given up like the 4th most runs in baseball this year, by the way, just as a little extra boost here. Arizona's a team you're supposed to get right against in terms of offense. So we get to the 8th inning. It's been a frustrating as hell game. Chris Sale was awesome. We're going to talk about Chris Sale in the second segment of the show. We get to the 8th inning. Alex Verdugo, by some miracle, Alex Verdugo hasn't had a hit since I was 12 years old. Alex Verdugo gets a hit. Immediately gets pitch run for Eli White. Sean Murphy comes up and gets a hit. 2 hits in a row. It's a miracle. Eli White, instead of running back to second, actually runs all the way to third base and stops at third. It's a Christmas miracle. The Braves have runners on first and third, nobody out. Luke Williams gets pinch runs for Sean Murphy, immediately steals second base on the first pitch. So now it's second and third, nobody out. And I think it was Drake Baldwin who pinch hit right there. Yeah, Drake Baldwin came in, pinch hit for Nick Allen. Drake Baldwin puts up a decent at bat, but he strikes out. And that's not a good strikeout. Listen, Drake Baldwin has been awesome this year. We've sang Drake Baldwin's praising. That's not a good strikeout. Now, he came in cold, off the bench. That's not an easy thing to do. He's been awesome this year, but that was a bad strikeout. So now it's second and third, 1 out, and Michael Harris comes to the plate. And Justin Martinez, who was as wild as any pitcher I've ever seen, throws 3 pitches, 2 of them nowhere near the plate. Mike swings at all 3 of them, strikes out on 3 pitches. They immediately walk Ronald Acuna Jr. Immediately walk him.
Like no thought given to it.
No thought.
Yeah.
The choice between Ronald Acuna Jr. or anybody else in this lineup is just an instantaneous, absolutely not. Ronald's not beating us, which is exactly what I would do. He gets sent down to first. Austin Riley comes in, actually puts up a good at bat, gets to a 3-2 count. At least he made him throw strikes, which is more than I can say for what Mike did, but still strikes out. So the Braves get 3 strikeouts. So now the frustration has just reached a whole new level. But hell, we didn't even know we were done yet because now we get to the 9th inning. Matt Olson walks. Marcell Ozuna walks. Marcell Ozuna got to a 3-2 count. Marcell struck out. Ozzie Albies walks. So they got 2 on with 1 out. Eli White comes up, swings at the first pitch. This guy is walking. This guy cannot throw a strike. He swings at the first pitch. Now, at least it was a strike. I will give Eli credit for that. It was a strike. It was actually a fastball right down the middle. But still, make this guy throw you a strike. Make this dude prove that he can throw you a strike. Eli White grounds out. So now it's first and third, 2 out. They do you a favor by hitting Luke Williams. Luke Williams had no chance to get a hit against this guy. He hit Luke Williams. Now the bases are loaded. Drake Baldwin's back up again. They walk Drake Baldwin. So now it's 2-1. Michael Harris is up again. And guess what happens? He throws 3 pitches, nowhere close to the strike zone, and Mike swings at all 3 of them. And the game's over. And I really don't know what to say.
I don't either. Like this is not me and Steven trying to,
I really don't have words. I don't know what to say.
It's not, we're not trying to put on a show right now. Like it is mind-numbingly frustrated right now. And I'll be honest with you, when Drake Baldwin came up with the bases loaded and there were 2 outs, right? Bases loaded and 2 outs. The thought legitimately crossed my mind, Stephen, they may actually walk Drake Baldwin just to pitch to Michael Harris. They would be willing to give up a run to be able to pitch to
And let me tell you how bad Michael Harris's first at bat against this guy was. When he came up for the second time, this dude had thrown like 40 pitches, was walking everybody. Anybody else gets pulled out of that game. But Mike looked so unbelievably bad in the first at bat against him that the manager was like, well, hell, I got to make Michael Harris show me he can hit this guy or at least lay off the pitches. And of course, Mike, doesn't even. I think he took one pitch in that at bat, and I think it was the fastball right down the middle. I think he took a fastball right down the middle, or maybe he fouled it off. I can't remember, but the next 3 pitches were all just a mile away from the strike zone. He threw that splitter in the dirt, splitter in the dirt, splitter in the dirt. Game over. And what a joke.
And it's just disheartening right now. That's as we wrap up this discussion of the offense, that's what it is. It's just disheartening when you see Verdugo and Sean Murphy get those hits. Your first thought coming to mind is, okay, is Brian Snitker going to make the right decisions to be able to put the runners in place and bat Baldwin in this inning? I'll give Snitker credit. He made the right decisions tonight to put the Braves in position to win. But then when all that occurs, the thought goes through your head, okay, how are the Braves going to flub this up? And that's exactly what occurred. Seeing Michael Harris at the plate, you know these pitchers are going to challenge him outside the strike zone. But you also know that Michael Harris knows that's going to be the case. And you also know in the back of your mind that as much faith as you want to have that he's going to be able to make the needed adjustments to put together a productive at bat, he still is not going to be able to do that. And twice tonight, he was in a position to deliver. To his credit, he's delivered multiple times in the past, but tonight he just looked absolutely lost. But again, it's not just about one player, it's the whole Braves lineup. And I once again go back to the point. Yes, I see people say over the past 3 or 4 days, they still believe that this team is going to get on a run. They still believe that this team is going to make the needed amount of wins. They're going to win frequently enough to be in the playoff picture once we get towards the end of the season. And that may very well be the case. But I don't think that it is spoken to enough just how much this offense must change and must change quickly. And for it to do that, it's going to take a lot of players getting significantly better. And that's a much harder thing to do than say. Before we get more into Chris Sale, a bit more into the pitching staff, and obviously the potential injury to Daysbel Hernandez, here's a word from our partners.
FT fan, by now, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
As a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And, oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL, use code FAL.
So, Stephen, the other thing that really comes to mind when it comes to just how disappointing, why I feel this has a good case to be the most disappointing loss of the season so far for the Braves, and while I'll back the point that I feel this is the low point of the season for the Braves, at least to this point, is Chris Sale was once again very good to spectacular throughout most of this game. I don't think he had just his best stuff, 4 walks on the night, but 10 strikeouts over 6 innings, still put together a quality start and efficient inning despite the 4 walks, which is uncharacteristic of him. But we talked about it last night. You have got to win games in which Chris Sale is this good. He absolutely did his job, and he got absolutely no support. I know I'm using the word absolutely a lot, but I don't know what other better way to put it to show that Chris Sale, we expect him to do his job, and he did that. The problem is that we even more expect the offense to not do their job, and that's once again what happened tonight. But enough about the offense for a moment. It's good to see Chris Sale against a pretty quality offense getting back to being one of the best pitchers in the National League. He showed that once again tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have his best stuff, and he still went 6 innings and gave up 1 run against, I think, like the number 4 offense in baseball. I mean, the Diamondbacks score a ton of runs. And you can look up and down that lineup. I mean, they got Corbin Carroll, they got Ketel Marte. I mean, they got dudes. So that's a big time start. And we said it last night. The Braves needed Chris Sale to go out and throw a big time start, and they needed the offense just to support him just a little bit. And they couldn't score a single run while he was in the game. 6 innings. What do you have? 10? Do you have 10 strikeouts tonight? 10 strikeouts. I mean, even without his best stuff, I don't think he had his best command. And he's basically just throwing 2 pitches. I mean, he's throwing 5 fastballs up and sliders down. And they couldn't do anything. The 1 run they got was off a blue pit. They got a walk. I think they got a swinging bunt to advance the guy to second, and then a blue pit. And that's how they scored their run. And so he was awesome. I mean, he was fantastic. They did everything he was supposed to do. And he's done that for the last 9 or 10 starts. I mean, he's been on a serious roll lately. Might be the Braves' only all-star. That's going to be a separate conversation. The all-star game is going to be in Atlanta, and they might have exactly one representative. But he was awesome. And nobody else on the team, I mean, even Iglesias came in and gave up a run in the 9th. I mean, if he doesn't give up that run, the 1 run the Braves scored in the 9th ties the game. I mean, he can't even come in and have it clean. It's like Chris Sale did his job. Dylan Lee did well. I want to give Dylan Lee credit, but it's just so damn frustrating to not be able to score a single run. Listen, Merrill Kelly had given up 8 earned runs in his last 10 innings pitched coming into the night. And he was mowing through the Braves like they were a high school lineup. I know this is not supposed to be about the offense. Sorry. But no, Chris Sale is awesome. Chris Sale is awesome. He is him and Acuna. Honestly, I tune in to watch Chris Sale and Ronald Acuna Jr. right now, and Drake Baldwin. Those are the players I tune in to watch. Everybody else can get bent because I'm sick of watching it. I'm sick of watching these guys take fastballs down the middle. I'm sick of Iglesias coming in and giving up runs every time he's in the damn game. I'm sick of it all. I'm just sick of it. And I watch for Chris Sale, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Drake Baldwin right now. And until somebody else gives me any reason, and by the way, I'm very curious. I'm going to watch the attendance like a hawk over the next couple of weeks because I know the Braves are about to go on the road. But when they get back in town, if they're still playing like this, that stadium is not going to be full. And we've already talked about it. The Braves depend very much on that stadium being full to pay for all the stuff. So it's getting tough very quickly.
I want to expand a little bit, though, on the starting staff because, if we're going to talk about, how disappointing it is right now, and especially when it comes to the offense, I think that we need to give the starting staff some credit. We'll do that in just a moment. But the other thing that I also find exciting when it comes to seeing these Chris Sale starts is that we're also really starting to see, Stephen, Chris Sale move into some pretty exclusive company when it comes to his career achievements. Him doing what he's doing at the age of 36, 37 years old, it's rare. It's not unprecedented, but it's certainly rare. Like the numbers that you're seeing from a left-hander at Chris Sale's age, the last person to do that was Randy Johnson. That's how rare of an accomplishment it is. Now over 2,500 strikeouts in his career. Tonight was the 80th time he's got 10-plus strikeouts in a game, which, is 8th all-time among starting pitchers. That's the point that I think that we need to probably cherish and appreciate a bit more, especially with it, since he's come to the team. It's been a bit disappointing overall, but each Chris Sale starts that he makes right now, he's doing something to either get closer to or make history. And it's a lot of fun when you really start seeing the company that he's entering with how good he's been for as long as he's been.
Yeah, I mean, I said it a couple of shows ago. I think like he's got, like, if he can really pick it, like have a really solid second half of his career with the Braves, like Hall of Fame, like all that stuff is still on the table for him. I know he had a big long stretch of injury where he didn't pitch, and that, with pitchers it's tough because they have to really pitch for a long time to start racking up the numbers to be up there with like Hall of Fame guys. And the game is so different. Guys only pitch 5 innings now. Trying to get up to the innings that Hall of Famers of past eras got to is basically impossible for pitchers now. Like 300 wins and all that stuff. Like for modern day pitchers, it just that those numbers aren't even really attainable. But I think Chris has got an outside shot at a Hall of Fame career if he can have a really solid second half of his career. I hope to God it's with the Braves because he's one of the only things I care to watch at the moment. But he's incredible. I mean, he's been a godsend. I don't know where the Braves would be without him. I mean, the Braves would not have made the playoffs last year without Chris Sale. Obviously, he was the best player on that team. I think he's pretty clearly been the best player on this team. Maybe Marcel has a case for that, but I think Chris Sale has been the best player. And thank God for him because he is one of the few bright spots, and he's been awesome. And he was awesome tonight. That's not an easy lineup. 10 strikeouts. I know they have a bunch of lefties, so that does help, but still not an easy lineup. They smoked pitches all night last night, and they didn't really smoke anything tonight. Again, their one run was off a walk in a blue pit. So really good from Chris. And yeah, I agree. I think he does have a chance to do some special stuff over the next couple of years.
Yeah. And the other thing that I'll say is this, is that, again, as doubtful as it may seem and as downtrodden as we are about the offense right now, one thing that remains true, this pitching staff is for the starting staff, they have been since May 1st among the best in baseball. And if this offense does start to get going, that type of turnaround, the amount of winning that we need to do in a short stretch of time, it very well could happen with how good our pitching has been. Take this, for instance. Since May 1st, coming into tonight, Chris Sale had a 1.11 ERA with a 2.61 FIP and a 2.92 xFIP. Spencer Spellenbach, since May 1st, 3.41 ERA, a 2.79 xFIP. Grant Holmes, a 3.22 ERA, a 3.16 FIP. And every one of those pitchers, Stephen, has above a 9 K rate over 9 innings and a walk rate of 3 or less per 9 innings. The point that I'm getting at is the Braves' main 3 starters, with A.J. Smith-Shawver now on the shelf for the season, Bryce Elder going down, Spencer Strider trying to reform himself. The main 3 starters have been excellent. That trio of Sale, Swellenbach, and Holmes has been among the best trios in baseball over basically the past 6 weeks. If Spencer Strider can find his form, then you've got something to build on. Again, the offense has got to do its part. But if there is one bright spot of this team, if it's one encouraging thing, it's the fact that the starting staff, once again, is showing its value in more than holding its own.
Yeah, and has the last 2 years. I mean, they were the number 1 ERA in baseball last year. Technically, we don't know that Ronaldo Lopez is not coming back in 2025. We don't know that. It's unlikely, but it's still possible. We know that, well, we don't know for sure, but we're pretty damn sure that A.J. Smith-Shawver is probably done for the year. We'll see what they do at the deadline. I mean, at this rate, they might be selling at the deadline. But, yeah, Sale, Swellenbach, Holmes, Strider, Elder. Strider's got to get it going. I do have faith that he will. Listen, Elder is going to be a 5th starter. He'll have decent games. He'll have blow-up games. The starting rotation, if you were to make a list of the top 10 things wrong with his team, you wouldn't get to the rotation until you got to 27th on the list. So yeah, the rotation has been fantastic. And despite dealing with injuries, I mean, Ronaldo got hurt almost immediately. Strider came back, then got hurt, was gone for a month. A.J. Smith-Shawver had to step in. Bryce Elder had to step in. Grant Holmes has been really solid. I know Schwellenbach and Sale both had little bumps in the road at the beginning, but both have righted the ship, have looked fantastic. The starters are doing their job. I mean, that's just the plain and simple. The starters are doing their job. It's basically everybody else. It's the offense, it's the back end of the bullpen. They're doing the exact opposite of their job.
Absolutely. And we just need more people. Again, that's one thing that I'll say about this team as a whole. It's not like we're asking a bunch of people to go above and beyond to be significantly more than what many expect for them to be. We just need for them to be what many expect for them to be. If that could happen over any stretch of time, this could right the ship real quickly. But again, we've said that, enough times to hope it'll happen. But more on what occurred tonight, and also we'll get into Daysbel Hernandez, the latest on him, as well as looking forward. Well, you want to call it that. We'll discuss the next game and the rest of the week here in just a moment after a word from our partners.
Hey, if you want to keep the conversation going after a show that you're listening to on the FT network, then head to Chat BCC. AJ's on there.
I'm on there right now, typing away. I'll be there. We'll be there all the time, talking about what topics people want to discuss, what everyone wants to hear us talk about on Foul Territory.
Yeah, if you have a question, we can answer it on FT or on an FT team show on the network. So if you want to come crash our group chat, it's as easy as sending a text. Head to foulterritory.chat to start chatting with FT hosts and the FT fam.
So, Stephen, the other thing that occurred late in the game on Wednesday versus the Diamondbacks was that Daysbel Hernandez came in. I believe Dylan Lee got the first out of the 8th inning, and Daysbel Hernandez came in and immediately ran into the same struggles that we have seen recently. It really seems like since he gave up an infield hit, I believe it may have been against the Padres. I don't remember the exact event, but basically over the past 10 days, we've started to see the regression settle in hard when it comes to Daysbel Hernandez. Once again, he was struggling. I think walked 2 of the 3 batters that he faced. He was going up against Josh Naylor and was working a 3-2 count. But then, as he was about to throw a 3-2 pitch to Naylor, or right before after he threw the pitch that made it 3-2 versus Josh Naylor, there was some concern. It seems like the report was that Ozzie Albies noticed that he was squeezing his hand, notified the coaching staff, and that was the case. It seemed as if Daysbel Hernandez was squeezing his hand, and his body language did not indicate that it was a good feeling at all. And of course, having just seen what happened with AJ Smith-Shawver, you're thinking the worst. So of course, Daysbel Hernandez was taken out. Aaron Bummer replaced him, finished the inning. But obviously with what we just seen with AJ Smith-Shawver, I'm sure many were thinking, oh gosh, here we go again with Daysbel Hernandez. Stephen, do you have any further updates when it comes to Daysbel? Hopefully it definitely didn't look as bad as it seemed that it could have been initially.
Yeah, Bowman, Mark, friend of the show, Mark Bowman, just MLB.com, just tweeted that Snit said that he just got some numbness in his pinky, and the trainers checked him out. I'm assuming did a full ligament test and all that stuff that you do, and they said he was fine. So Braves might have dodged a bullet. Listen, anytime a guy starts messing with his pitching arm, starts flexing his hand, even Glavine on the broadcast was like, "Oh no." I think he actually audibly said, "Oh no, you don't want numbness in your hands," because everybody kind of knows that's a precursor to something more serious. So we'll see. I'm not sure the Braves are completely out of the woods of it yet. It's going to be the next time Daysbel throws. If it happens again and he has to go for an MRI or something, I'm still not. The update was good. There's nothing initially wrong with him, but I'm going to have to see him pitch again and not have it happen again before I'm completely okay, we're good here. But yeah, I mean, a separate problem is that Daysbel just hasn't been that good lately. I mean, you don't want him to get hurt. Obviously, it's better to have him than to not have him, but he's walking so many people. He's not striking enough people out. We've talked about this. The back end of the bullpen is kind of a mess right now with Daysbel and Raciel. So the Braves are almost certainly going to have to address that at some point if they're in contention come the time to address those things. I mean, that's not a certain thing. I don't even know if that's a more likely thing than not at this point. I mean, I would probably argue that it's more likely the Braves will not be in contention the talent of the team is still such that I have a hard time saying that. But listen, at some point, you just are who you are. I mean, the Bill Parcells, you're right. You are what your record is. And it's possible this team just sucks. Like, it's hard for my brain to get there because of the talent on the team and how we judge teams by talent, individual talent. But like, it's just possible this team sucks because they've spent most of the year sucking. So it's possible they suck. And if they suck, then they won't be buying anything at the deadline. They'll be selling whatever little they have to sell off. So it's good news on Daysbell. They need him to pitch better. They need him to pitch and not have this happen the next time, or it's probably going to be something more serious. But it's a better update than, if we'd gotten an update that said like, yeah, he's going for an MRI and it doesn't look good. So at least we didn't get that.
Well, then, so let me ask you about the bullpen in general, because, if Daysbell were to, for some reason, go on the IL, if this winds up, not being just a short thing and, he has issues, whatever reason he winds up on the IL. One name that we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago, for instance, I think I made it, I can't remember. I think I made it on the podcast. I know I at least said it, off the podcast. I know that many people were talking about Craig Kimbrell potentially coming up and replacing like Raisel Iglesias as our closer, even when Iglesias was struggling. And I said that's not the case. I didn't trust Kimbrell to come in and take on a big role for this bullpen. But since then, Craig Kimbrell has actually been very good at AAA. This bullpen, despite numbers suggesting that they've been okay to decent to pretty good here recently, again, underlying metrics do not suggest the same for many of the guys. So where are we with Craig Kimbrell in your mind, Stephen Tolbert? I feel like it's a situation kind of similar to the third base situation. You replace Tuiasosopo with Freddie Gonzalez because, you may not necessarily think it's going to have a significant impact, but it at least puts you in a better position, in a relevant impact on your offense. To me, that's kind of where we are with Craig Kimbrell, is that there are plenty of guys who I think in this bullpen, you potentially would like to see Craig Kimbrell come in before now. So why not go ahead and make that move? If Daysbell going to the IL is the obvious way to do that, that's fine. You're not using Scott Blewett in bigger situations, despite the fact that he's looked better than several of the guys there. You need as much reliability as possible in the bullpen. I don't expect Craig Kimbrell to come up and all of a sudden be one of the best closers in the league, but at the very least, he could be a good middle of the rotation or middle of the bullpen guy. The problem is that the back end of our bullpen has a very hard time not giving up runs. Raisel Iglesias given up that second run in the top of the ninth inning we haven't discussed, but that was a huge turning point in the game because that doesn't happen. We tie it. Where are you potentially on Craig Kimbrell coming up and being a part of this bullpen? Because it seems like that he's done all that he needs to do or all that he can do in the minors.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't care. Fine, bring him up. I mean, it's the second game in a row. Montero did the same thing last night, where it was a manageable game. Montero comes in the ninth and gives up a 3-run homer. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times on this show. I don't understand their obsession with Rafael Montero. I would have DFA'd that guy weeks ago. They like him substantially more than I do because I don't like him at all. But they clearly see something they like. I would have put Kimbrell in this bullpen over Montero weeks ago, and I'm not even that high on Craig Kimbrell either, to be honest with you. Where the bullpen's numbers overall look good because they've had some guys pitch some bulk innings that have helped those numbers, but like in high leverage, especially the back end, it's not been good. And if you don't agree with me, just ask yourself this: when the game is close and Daysbell is in or Raisel is in, do you feel good? Do you feel good about that? I don't think anybody does. Dylan Lee's been good. Pierce Johnson's been pretty good overall, but yeah, I mean, bring Kimbrell up. I don't care. I mean, what's it going to hurt? I mean, it's not like they can suck any more than they've sucked already. So yeah, bring him up. I would DFA Montero if Daysbell needs to go on the IL, then yeah, bring him up. I mean, I know Ken Rosenthal reported this week. He has some clause in his contract where apparently he can still accept offers from other teams. And if he gets a major league offer, then the team either has to let him go to that team or call him up themselves, which is very weird. I've never heard of that. where a guy can be under contract with one team and still be like accepting offers from other teams. I didn't dive into that fully, but I think that's what Rosenthal reported. So, and who knows, but yeah, bring him up. I mean, what's it going to hurt?
Exactly. If you feel that something can improve this team right now, what's it going to hurt? It's not what we've got going. Certainly has not been working to the point of being successful. So if you've got something,
not like you're going to mess, not like you're going to mess up the mojo. I mean,
yeah,
it's a dumpster fire right now. So yeah,
absolutely, and that gets us to the biggest point of all. Tomorrow is once again a must-win game, and I'm not being dramatic. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat that or put extra contents to it. The Braves got to win tomorrow. 11:15 game Central Time, 12:15 Eastern. Grant Holmes on the mound. I believe his last name is I know who he is, but his name is hard to pronounce. Brendan Pfaadt, who's got a 5.05 ERA so far this season for Arizona. You have played a team in Arizona that again is bottom 5 in the majors and giving up runs, and you've scored 1 run off of them that you actually produced that didn't come from an error or come from a walk. That's got to change tomorrow, because if the Braves get swept in this series against Arizona, they now are once again 7 games under 500. They once again find themselves in a hole, and they once again are putting themselves in a position where you've got to go on a pivotal road trip out west against the Giants, and then against Milwaukee, who's been very hot as of late. Those are 2 teams who primarily are 2 of your biggest competitors for a wild card spot. You lose tomorrow, not only are you at your lowest point in the season record-wise, but now you're doing it right before probably what's going to prove to be the most pivotal road trip of the season. You've got to get the job done tomorrow. That's it. Nothing past tomorrow. The 1 game at a time philosophy, it's got to be there. The offense has to show up. You've got to get the job done tomorrow. Or if you don't, the thing that we have tried to put off, that it may just not be there this year, those conversations are going to get louder and they're going to be valid.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about the desperation level right now in that front office. Like, are they contemplating firing Tim Hires? Like, if we woke up tomorrow and the Braves fired their hitting coach, I would not be stunned. Like, this whole thing is just capsized very quickly. And like, again, this is not a team that can afford that stadium to be empty. Literally, I mean, afford, literally. They cannot afford it for this stadium to be empty for the last 2 months of the season. So I'm very curious to see what the desperation level is. There's no top prospects like in AAA. Boston, the Red Sox are playing like right now too, but they got Roman Anthony sitting in AAA that they could call up for a spark. The Braves don't have that. Braves don't have like a top prospect just sitting in the wings ready to help out. They got Profar coming back at the end of the month, or around the All-Star break, depending on how long he takes to rehab. But I mean, by that point, the season could be in the toilet. I mean, that's 3 weeks away. That's 4 weeks away. So there's no one coming to help. There just isn't. I mean, this is the group. And so I'm very curious to see if they go desperate. Everybody's telling me that Michael Harris needs to be demoted to AAA. My response to that is, for who? I mean, Jared Kelenic? Is that any better? Like, who? Like, Jared Kelenic can't hit either. At least Michael can play defense. I mean, they don't have anybody. So, yeah, okay, you want Michael demoted because he's hitting like crap. Okay, who's coming up? So, I mean, yeah, there's really no answers right now. It's too early to make any significant trades. I mean, I think I would not be surprised at all if they fired the hitting coach tomorrow or tonight. I really wouldn't. That's how bad it is right now. And they are in full desperation mode right now, because if they get swept and then they have to go on the road to the Giants and the Brewers, I mean, this season could get away right here at this stretch.
Now, I'm going to end on a positive note, because we were.
I don't have a positive note, so that's impressive. The fact that you even have a positive note is impressive.
The last Thursday, we were to the point, if you remember, we were on the brink of saying that was the low point of the season. AJ Smith-Shawver had gotten hurt. We had lost a wild and crazy game where we had the chance to win late, and we were facing Zach Wheeler with Chris Sale on the mound, and we got the job done.
Oh, okay.
It's even more of a low point now to where you've got to get the job done. So if you want one positive thing, as we raise up early tomorrow and look forward or not look forward to the Braves playing. Just a week ago,
I'm not looking forward to it.
Just a week ago, we were in the same position, and the Braves got the job done. Now, it didn't mean anything 48 hours later, but at some point, it can mean something once they do it. So I am here to say I agree with Steven 150%. We are in full desperation mode right now. Get the job done tomorrow, then actually have it mean something by it being the launching point for you to get back going like you've done several years in a row. That's how you get it done. That's all I've got. Steven, you've got anything else as we wrap up this edition of the Hammer Territory podcast?
I guess I'll end with this. I think I'm official to the point where my mindset is flipped, where I am for all year, I have watched them play like crap and have expected them to play better at some point. And I think I'm actually to the point now where even if they win tomorrow, I will kind of expect them to play like crap after that. And I know that sucks. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be pessimistic, but like I've just seen them like, all right, they had a good win. They beat Zach Wheeler. Maybe this is the start of something. And then they lose 5 out of the next 6 games or whatever it is. And I mean, honestly, I think I'm to that point where even if they win tomorrow, I'm assuming they're going to go to San Francisco and get drubbed. And I know that's the antithesis of what you just said, of being positive, but you're a more positive person than I am, quite honestly. And I respect you for that. I'm envious of your positive attitude. I do not have a positive attitude. Even if they win tomorrow, I'm assuming they're going to go to get San Francisco and get drubbed, and then go to Milwaukee and get dog walked, and then come home and get skull dragged. So like that's where I am right now. Is that right? No, but
it's hard to blame you. It's hard to blame you because it's hard to blame you. But I've done this before. Brad Rowland will be on the podcast tomorrow night, wrapping up the series with Arizona before looking at us going out west to the Giants. Plus, we'll have a special guest. But I've done this before. I'm going to put it out there into the universe. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. Hashtag big win for Brad. Brad Rowland and his special guest tomorrow, they deserve to cover a victory. Big win for Brad. Whatever. Some type of hashtag indicating a win for Brad. Put it out there, Braves.
I think we're like 0 for 7 on hashtags with Brad.
We are not 0 for 7, Steven.
I think we might have to try something else.
Earlier this year. Just go with it, okay? Steven will put the hashtag out there right after the game.
I love the hashtag. I'm just saying. I think we're. Oh, I literally think we're over. Steven? Steven. Okay, sorry. I'm in a bad mood. So
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. We're going to try to end it on a positive note. All joking aside, pleasure always being with you. Thank you very much for continuing to support and stick with us. I feel strongly. I'm not going to promise anymore because it's hard to do that. I feel strongly it's going to pay off, and at some point we're going to make things interesting because I'll agree. I think at some point we still are fully capable of going on the run that we need to, that we have to go on. Hopefully it starts sometime soon. But until that time, if that happens, if it doesn't happen, we're going to be with you here almost every single day, covering this team with passion, pride, positivity, and at some point, probably pity. But until then, can't thank you enough for joining us here on the Hammer Territory podcast, part of the Foul Territory family of podcasts. Here we go. Foul Territory family of podcasts. Stephen Tolbert at on Twitter and X. You can find him at B_Outliers there. My name's Shawn Coleman at StatsSAC on Twitter at X. You can follow Hammer Territory across all forms of social media, Foul Territory across all forms of social media, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Make sure you support us there. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mailman, even if they don't want to hear about the Braves at all, because they too are pissed off watching this team play baseball. Tell them to enjoy the podcast. Until next time, go Braves. We'll talk to you again soon here on the Hammer Territory podcast.